Welcome to another episode of Got Time with Christopher John, your scholar and gentleman in a hoodie.
My great-grandfather and my great-grandparents had a cleaners and would save all the change from the week, put them in the Crown Royal bag, and on Friday nights, and these are stories that my grandmother would tell me, and then when I grew up, I got a chance to experience, but putting all the change in these Crown Royal bags, right? And this is in the 50s, the 60s, right? And on a Friday night, throwing all the change out in the kids, that was an activity. Would literally go and whoever got, you would collect, and whatever you collected, you got to keep. And so that was a family experience. And, as we talk about like coin collecting, right? And all of the ways that all of us have these stories, Chris, you just referenced you putting change in a bag, right? Everything is along a continuum. Right. And there are cultural experiences that I would say folks that put the change in the bag, you're collecting those coins. Yep. You may not necessarily view them as valuable assets that you might, that are worth a lot of monetary value, but they mean something to you. That's why you kept them. Right? You saw value in it. You saw value in it. And so from that experience with my great-grandfather and collecting them and putting the coins in the bag, years later, when I got good grades on a report card, what would he do? He'd go to that Crown Royal bag and pull out a silver dollar, right? And it was a special moment. He would take that silver dollar and press it. Great job. Hold on to this. It's a value. It's something special to commemorate you doing something well. A $2 bill. Hold on to this, right? These were not things that we saw in everyday circulation, which automatically, wow, this is rare. This is unique. It's valuable. But those Crown Royal bags are cultural and so foundational to the experience, the shared experience, especially as Black people, that we have around special coins or things that are valuable and the ways that we kept them. We didn't throw them into a drawer. Sometimes we might, right? But the memory of that bag, that velvet bag, right? Now they're felt or whatever they are.
And now they have more colors. It used to just be purple and gold. Now they got black and gold. They got beige and gold. Yeah.
yeah, right. But it was something special that we held on to. And so pivoting into the broader, more societal definition of wealthy, it is knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power. We've heard that. We've heard that tagline. Like we say all these things. Knowledge is power. Each one, teach one. Teach one. Right? Yep. Right? We say these things, and what does it look like to practice them? And so for me, another degree of wealth is the sharing of information. Like you can ask anybody that knows me. I am not a gatekeeper. Anything I know, anything I've learned, I share freely. Ideas. I remember, some folks, don't share that idea. That might be your big, your big break. That might be your big idea. No. Being wealthy is having an idea and sharing it because someone else might be better equipped to be able to take that idea and actualize it.
Absolutely.
Right. And so the why was, this is a silver dollar. It's not just a dollar, but it's actual silver. The contents that makes it up. This is silver. Silver will appreciate over time. Silver is a precious metal. And so whereas the value of that silver dollar, in the 1980s was $2. Today, it's $30. It's now $100 an ounce if we're looking at some of the 1 ounce silver coins. And so silver is a precious metal. Yes, it's money, but we got to start by understanding the contents that make things up. And that was the piece for me that was always missing. And so when I think about the coins that I collected, the change, the stories, right? Coins and currency tell the history of a place. the people who mattered, the moments that mattered, the stories, the experience, the things that make that culture rich. And so I'm learning this and taking this in, and my mom and I collected the state quarters, right? And had that big bifold that so many folks had. And what didn't click for me until probably about 10 years ago was the connection to why these things were valuable in the precious metals. The value of precious metals moves. And so a silver dollar will not cost you $1. It will cost you the composition of the silver, and the value of that is based on a different system. And in parallel, whereas we have, oh, it's a silver dollar, or oh, it's a 50-cent piece, we're thinking it's $1 or 50 cents. The value is actually very different. And there are two things at play. And so often, thinking about a quarter is 25 cents, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you have a quarter that has, we look at the dates, we might look at the pictures on the back, but any quarter that is before 1964, 1963, 1962, that is silver. Its composition includes silver. And so I start going and I'm buying quarters now. Why? Because of the composition. We're pouring our coins into Coinstar machines, getting 23 cents back, saying, oh, they only take, I got rid of all that old change. But guess what? That quarter today, one quarter, if it has a pre-64 date, it's worth about $18. Well, again, I'm talking about those parallel paths. What other people knew that we didn't know is that they were precious metals. And so had we invested or bought those coins that were on TV in 1990, the gold coins that were on TV that were selling for $500 for a 1 ounce coin in the 1990s, I'm like, $500 for a $10 coin, they're crazy. Well, that $500 coin today is worth more than $5,000, because 1 ounce of gold in the 1990s was worth around $300 and something. Today, gold has reached an all-time high in 2026 of above $5,400 an ounce. And so since, I get so excited talking about this, but again, there was something happening that we knew nothing about. What we saw were we buy gold signs going up in our neighborhoods and people coming in saying, bring me your broken earrings, bring me your broken necklaces, bring me your scrap gold. I'll give you money today, right? And you're getting that movement. Oh, wow, I could get, $200 for an old broken earring or a broken necklace. Mm-hmm. I'm not wearing it anyway. Well, guess what? It was a precious metal. What did they do? They melted it down and you see gold bars today, right? And if you think about the weight of a gold bar, that's inaccessible for most folks. Those are thousands of dollars, right? But those little earrings, had you kept it, that $200 you got in the 1990s would be, a few $1,000s today. So throughout history, people have been investing in a separate class, an asset class. We heard about stocks. We heard about bonds. We heard about securities. We heard about real estate. But what was not common knowledge were investments in precious metals. And those infomercials that we saw, we didn't have the context, the background, and we had such distrust because of the history. And the legacy would be ripped off in the relationship with money, our banks being burned down, Black Wall Street being decimated, and not trusting in the system, that we missed the boat. So many of us missed the boat. And we talk about people selling grandma's house today. Hold on to that house because it's an asset. We were selling our broken earrings at a time when, guess what everybody else knew? The value of precious metals would continue to go up. And we are at a hockey stick now. I mean, we've seen a steep increase since 2020. Why? Because the dollar, a paper dollar, at one point, our money was backed by gold. When the system shifted and it was no longer backed by gold, we have something called fiat currency, money, right? You print it, but what is it backed by? You can use it, you can exchange it in our system, right? It moves, it works. And each year, if you think about $100 in the 1990s, how far would that go? $100 in 2019 before the pandemic, how far would that go? $100 in the middle of the pandemic when everything was more expensive, how far would that go? Not as far. And consistently so, we see our dollars not going as far as they used to. Why? Mm-hmm. Because cash is a deflationary asset. Well, that grandma who wanted so badly to have something, she had saved and saved and saved, but literally saw that she was not getting the return on keeping that money in a savings account, that bought this 100 ounces of silver at $28 an ounce, now has an asset, 100 ounces times 116.
Hey, look here, the loose change, y'all. The loose change.